You know that feeling, right? You've been part of a project that kicks off with all this energy and a crystal clear destination, but somewhere along the way, it just goes completely off the rails. Suddenly, you're over budget, behind schedule, and nobody's quite sure how you got there. It happens all the time. But why? Well, the simplest answer is they get lost. It's like one team has a map telling them to go north, another team has a map pointing east, and nobody realizes they're not going to the same place. Without that one single source of truth that everyone on the project can rely on, chaos is pretty much inevitable. The project just completely loses its North Star. So, what's the fix? What do these projects really need? Well, they need a GPS, something that doesn't just show the destination, but plots the smartest route to get there, and crucially, helps you reroute when you hit a roadblock. And you know what? In the world of project management, that GPS actually has a name. It's called the Project Management Plan. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. How to build one that acts as a strategic GPS for your projects, making sure they always get to where they need to go. All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with the why, the strategic purpose of the plan. Then we'll dissect it to see what it's made of. After that, we'll look at how to actually build one, why it's a living thing, and we'll wrap up with a playbook you can put to use right away. So let's kick things off with that big picture question. Why do we even need this plan? What makes it so much more than just another piece of project documentation? The PMBOK guide really nails it with this definition. Look at those verbs: identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate. This isn't about passive management. It's an active process of weaving together all the different threads of a project. And the project management plan? That's the tangible result. It's the master blueprint where every single one of those threads comes together. And here's the formal definition. Again, the key words here are the actions: executed, monitored, controlled, and closed. This tells you right away that the plan isn't a history book. It's a forward-looking guide that dictates how you're going to run the show from start to finish. So the best way to think about the plan is as the project's brain. It takes in all this information, the individual plans for cost, for scope, for risk, and its job is to unify and integrate them. It's the thing that forces you to answer the tough questions. Like, okay, if the stakeholders want to add this new feature, what does that do to our timeline and our budget? Without this central brain making those connections, a project is just a bunch of disconnected parts moving in different directions. Okay, so we're clear on the why. The plan is our strategic GPS. Now, let's pop the hood and take a look at what it's actually made of. What are the core components that make this thing work? First up, you've got all these subsidiary plans. Think of them as the detailed maps for specific parts of the journey. You've got a plan for how you'll manage scope, another for how you'll manage costs, how you'll communicate, and so on. The master plan's job isn't to rewrite all of this, but to pull them together and make sure they all work in harmony. You can't have your scope plan saying one thing and your schedule plan saying another. They have to be in sync. And then we have the 3 baselines. Now this is where the plan really gets its power. Your scope, schedule, and cost baselines. Once they're approved, they are locked in. They become the official contract for the project. From that point on, every bit of work is measured against these lines. Are we on schedule? Are we on budget? The baselines are how you know for sure. They are your objective definition of success. Now, this is a really important distinction because it's something that trips up a lot of people. The things on the left, the components of the plan, they set the rules. They define how you're going to work. The things on the right, the project documents, are the outputs you create by following those rules. So your risk management plan tells you the process for identifying risks, and the risk register is the document where you list them out. See the difference? The plan gives you the structure, the documents hold the details. Okay, we know why it exists and what's in it, but how does this thing actually get made? I can tell you one thing, it's not by one person sitting alone in a dark room. Creating the plan is really a process of integration. You start by gathering all your inputs, the project charter gives you the authority and high-level scope, and then you pull in all those subsidiary plans we just talked about. The key step, though, is in the middle. It's about bringing the right people into a room, using their expert judgment, and facilitating discussions to hammer out the details and make sure everything fits together seamlessly. Only then do you formalize it into the final document. And yeah, creating this plan is a total team sport. You use techniques like brainstorming with your core team to get all the ideas and potential risks out on the table. But then you use something more structured, like a focus group, to get crucial feedback from your key stakeholders. You need both. You need the internal expertise on how to do the work and the external perspective on what success actually looks like to the business. All of this hard work usually comes to a head at the project kickoff meeting. And this meeting is so much more than just introductions. It's the moment of truth. It's where you present the plan, get everyone to agree on the path forward, and achieve that critical alignment before a single line of code is written or the first brick is laid. So you've got your plan. It's beautiful. It's approved. Now what? The absolute biggest mistake you can make is to file it away and forget about it. Its real value comes from using it every single day as a living, breathing guide. This timeline is key. The plan evolves. It starts out as a flexible draft. Then, after that kickoff, it gets baselined. That's the moment it goes from being a guide to being the law. And from that point on, look at that critical step during execution. It can only be updated through a formal approved change request. That's not just red tape. That's the discipline that protects the project from scope creep and ensures your plan remains the single source of truth. Now, this control doesn't mean the plan is stuck in concrete. It's designed to get smarter over time through this really powerful idea called progressive elaboration. Think of it like this. For a year-long project, you might plan out the next 3 weeks in painstaking detail. But for month 11, it might just be a rough outline. As you move forward and learn more, you progressively elaborate on the later parts of the plan, adding more detail and making your estimates more accurate. The plan becomes more useful as you go, not more outdated. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So let's bring it all home and distill it down into a simple, powerful playbook that you can use to make your plans truly effective. If you walk away with anything today, make it these 3 rules. First, integrate, don't just document. Your job is not to be a file clerk. Your job is to be the strategist who connects all the dots. Second, baseline with intent. When you lock in those baselines, you are signing a contract. You're making a promise. Treat it with that level of seriousness. And third, treat it as a living blueprint. A blueprint is useless if it's sitting on a shelf. Use it to guide your decisions every day, and have the discipline to update it formally when things change. That's how you navigate through uncertainty. So I'll leave you with this final thought. For your next project or the one you're on right now, ask yourself, is your project plan just a document collecting digital dust somewhere on a server, or is it a destination, a clear, shared vision that your entire team is actively navigating toward every single day? Because honestly, the difference between those two is almost always the difference between failure and success.